Hey guys, what is up? It is Pixel Power here, and I'm sure you can tell from the title, this is a Pokemon TCG Ancient Box breakdown. This is my personal list, and I love the Pokemon TCG. It's a very fun game, the community is awesome, and this roughly 60, 58 cards has won me a lot of tournaments. It's definitely one of my favorite decks of all time, and I'm gonna break it down for you guys. So let's get right in. First, please ignore any outside noises. There's construction going on outside, and it can be annoying. Alright, now let's get into it. First things first is first or second. I like to go second with this deck to try to discard an energy, and then do Professor Sada to do first turn Vengeance Fletching. And now onto the cards. So we have 4 copies of Roaring Moon. This is your main attacker. You don't normally want to throw him away. You can if you have to, but you want to save him for your main attacker. His attack, Vengeance Fletching, does 70 damage plus 10 for every card in your discard pile, or every ancient card, sorry, in your discard pile. He's very good at attacking, and 140 is really buffy for a basic Pokemon, especially if you have Ancient Booster Capsule, which we'll get into later. Next, I play 4 copies of Fluttermane. Fluttermane is an amazing card, and I love it very much. It shuts off stuff like Shivery Chill, Flower Selecting. It can also shut off stuff like Infernal Rain, which I've used sometimes, and if you boss up Baxcalibur, it can shut off Super Cold. So, very great card. Hex Hurl isn't the best attack, but Midnight Fluttering is an amazing ability. 90 health can be a little scary with cards like Radiant Greninja and Dragapult in the format, but I still think it's an amazing card. Often you want to throw this away unless you're playing Chenpao or Lost Box or Giratina. But that's all I have for Fluttermane. Again, amazing card. Then I play 3 copies of Koraidon. I know some Ancient Box play Walking Wake, which I think is a good card. I just like Koraidon. I think its attack can be good as a starter if you don't have enough ancient cards in this card pile to power up Roaring Moon. But most of the time you just want to throw them away to power up Roaring Moon. Yeah, that's all I have Koraidon. Next, we have 1 copy of Great Tusk. Great Tusk can be very helpful in matchups. If it'll focus. Great Tusk can be very helpful in matchups such as Control, just discarding all of their stuff, and their Pidgeot. And it can also be very good on the Great Tusk matchup, or in the mirror match. If they're at their very end, and you just do it and you win. This Great Tusk is one of my favorite plays with this deck. It's really fun. Next, say whatever you want. I play 1 copy of Pidgeot V. I love this card. It's helped me quite a bit, and it just allows me to go Explorer's Guidance without any regrets. It's just sort of make sure you don't run out of cards, and if you do run into the mirror match, Great Tusk can be a little scary. Chi-Yu can be bad, but I like Pidgeot. And if you're building this deck, you can change Pidgeot with other stuff. I completely understand. Next, 1 copy of Cobalion. Again, Charizard can just be sort of a scary matchup. Sometimes you just need that little push. And like I think I said earlier, I am a very aggro player, and Cobalion definitely helps with aggressive plays. Last Pokemon, we have 1 copy of Radiant Greninja. Concealed cards is an amazing ability, and it helps you get cards in the discard pile, or energy cards in the discard pile, so you can Professor Sada to power up your Roaring Moon or Fluttermane. And yeah, the main problem with this card is that it's not an ancient Pokemon, so you can't Professor Sada. Same with Pidgeot and Cobalion. So if they boss it up, you can be in kind of a tough spot. But I think this is the best Radiant for this deck, and I think every other Ancient Box player agrees. Next, we play 4 copies of Explorer's Guidance. Explorer's Guidance is just a really good card to help get ancient cards in this card pile. Plus, when you play it, you automatically get another ancient card in this card pile. Look at the top 6 cards of your deck and put 2 of them into your hand, discard the other cards. So yeah, just fantastic card for them, obviously. And you're usually gonna Sada or Explorer's Guidance every turn. I actually prefer Explorer's Guidance first turn over Sada.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
Next, we have 4 Professor Sadas. Professor Sada is basically what makes this deck work. It's the energy accelerator, and it just works. You draw 3 cards if you attach energy from your discard pile onto your ancient Pokemon. Amazing card, and it's just overpowered, and it definitely helps this deck out a lot. And it's another ancient card, so you discard it with Explorer's Guidance or Pokestop sometimes. You almost never want to do that, but you can if you have to. Next, we play 1 copy of Boss's Orders. Now, Boss's Orders is helpful to Gust if you're not behind on prizes. The main thing that happens is you discard it with Pokestop or Explorer's Guidance, and yeah, it's definitely helpful at times, like you Palpad and Pokegear. Yeah, Boss's Orders is a solid card. I think it's the best card in the entire game. Say what you want about that. Penny is very helpful in matchups like Control. It can also be very useful for bringing up a damaged Moon in case of, like, Iron Hands, or, yeah, stuff like that. Or Sableye. But Penny's pretty solid. Also, if you do have Pidgeot or Cobalion in the front. It's basically a better Professor Churro for basic Pokemon. Next, we play 2 copies of Super Rod. Super Rod is just awesome. Super Rod is just... You play Super Rod to play Super... It's the only recovery in this deck, unless you count Sada. But, yeah. I often Super Rod back in a Roaring Moon or 2 and a Dark Energy, and it usually does pretty well for me. Next, we have 1 copy of Lost Vacuum. Lost Vacuum is just amazing in the format. There's so much stuff that you get rid of, like Hero's Cape, like Bravery Charm, Forest Seal Stone. There's just so much stuff that you can get rid of with Lost Vacuum. And it's one of the best cards in the game, in my opinion. And then we have 1 copy of Palpad. Palpad can help get back Sada or Boss's Orders if you discard them with Pokestop, and you also get it off of Pokestop because it's an item card. So, very useful card and very helpful. Next, we have 2 copies of Countercatcher. The reason I play 2 copies of Countercatcher over 2 copies of Boss is because you get them off of Pokestop, and that's a huge deal. You're not usually behind on prizes, I don't think, but you can sort of let them take the first prize, and then you countercatch whoever you want, and then take the next prize. So, Countercatcher, very useful. It can also help in the late game, sort of. Next, we play 3 copies of Nest Ball. Every Pokemon in this deck is every Pokemon in this deck is a basic Pokemon. Nest Ball allows you to get a basic Pokemon and put it on your bench. It's very useful for just getting Pokemon, raiding Greninja early game. Be helpful for getting Roaring Moon. Be helpful for getting pretty much anything in this deck. So, very useful card. Next, we play 2 copies of Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball is very helpful for getting Pokemon, and it also allows you to discard cards from your hand, such as any ancient card. Any ancient card you can discard, and it'll boost up Roaring Moon, and you also get a Pokemon at it, so pretty good deal there. Next, we have 3 copy of Pokegear. Again, you get them off of Pokestop, which is a huge deal. And they help you find stuff like Professor Saab's Vitality, Boss's Orders, Penny, and Explorer's Guidance. Very useful. The fact that you get them off of Pokestop is legendary. Very useful cards. Next, we play 4 copies of Earthen Vessel. Earthen Vessel, again, allows you to discard a card from your hand, which can be very, very helpful in this deck to power up Roaring Moon. It also is an ancient card, so if you discard a card from your hand, or an ancient card from your hand, you automatically get 2 more in the discard pile. Plus, you get 2 energies, which can be very, like, first turn Earthen Vessel, that's super. And it's just super helpful. Next, we play 3 copies of Pokestop. Pokestop is a huge part in this deck, and it, when rotation hits, that's gonna be your problem. We'll figure that out when we get there. Pokestop is, you discard the top 3 cards of your deck and you keep any item cards. It's just super good. You keep any item cards, which a lot of my deck is item cards. It helps you get ancient cards in the discard pile. It's just amazing. And it's sort of what this deck runs on. Without Pokestop, it's definitely possible to win, but it's definitely harder. Next, we play 4 copies of Ancient Booster Capsule. Ancient Booster Capsule, again, is just an ancient card that you want to throw away. It also adds 60 HP, and it can't be affected by special conditions if it's attached to a Pokemon, which can be very, very useful at times in matchups like Chen Pao, and Future Box especially, where they just need more Iron Crowns or more energy to knock them out. Again, very useful card, and yeah, it's just awesome. Next, a spec of choice is Maximum Belt. Say what you want, I love this card. It's helped me so many times in pretty much everything except Arceus, Tina, and Lugia, pretty much, are not EXs in the main format. And sometimes, again, you just need that last push. So this with Cobalion, I like to go for a mid-game Charizard knockout instead of a late game. Again, I'm an aggro player. We play 7 Dark Energy. 7 seems about right. Sometimes I wish I had more, but 7 usually works for me. You can use it for Roaring Moon, again, Fluttermane, and even Koraidon sometimes. Then we play 2 Fighting Energy, specifically for Koraidon. You can also use them for concealed cards, a retreat cost on Fluttermane, and you can also use Primordial Beatdown. That's my Ancient Box deck in a nutshell, and it's awesome. It's just really cool. I love this deck so much. It's won me a lot of tournaments, and I hope this video helped you out. Pixel Power signing off.